guys, it's Miss Karen, the Young Adult Librarian at the Goshen Public Library, back again with another box of books to share with you. This is kind of a medium-sized box, not as big as some of the ones I get, but bigger than some of the small ones. So let's see what's inside. Hopefully get some good new reads for the winter. Lots of tape on this one. Right. So the first book in our box is The Return of the Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. And The Return of the Thief is part of the Queen's Thief series by Megan Turner. And it's a pretty long series, so there's The Thief, The Queen of Atolia, The King of Atolia, A Conspiracy of Kings, Thick as Thieves, and Return of the Thief. So there are quite a few books. This is, I think, the last one in the series. We also have the one right before it, which is called Thick as Thieves. So if you're interested in checking out this series, you're probably going to want to start with the first one, which, like I said, is The Thief. And that one you can find in the catalog. So I'm not going to spoil the series by giving you what this one is about. But if you're already familiar with it, this is the latest one, Return of the Thief. All right, let's see what's next. Next we have Admission by Julie Buxbaum. Let's see, this looks like realistic fiction. It says, lie, cheat, bribe, all of the above. So, let's see. It's good to be Chloe Wynne Barringer. She's headed off to the college of her dreams. She's going to prom with the boy she's had a crush on since middle school. Her best friend always has her back, and her mom, a B-list Hollywood celebrity, may finally be on her way to the B-plus list. It's good to be Chloe Wynne Barringer. At least it was. Until the FBI came knocking on her front door, guns at the ready, and her future went up in smoke. Now her mother is under arrest in a massive college admissions bribery scandal. Chloe, too, might be facing charges, and even time behind bars. The public is furious, the press is rabid, and the U.S. attorney is out for blood. Chloe must reckon not only with the truth of what happened, but also with the examination of her own guilt. Why did her parents think the only way for her to succeed was to cheat for her? What did she know, and when did she know it? And what does it mean to be complicit? Admission is an incisive, of-the-moment novel that peeks inside the private lives of the hyper-competitive and hyper-privileged and takes on the scandal that rocked the country. So if you guys remember the college admissions scandal from last year, or the year before, I can't remember exactly when, but this is kind of an examination of a fictional version of that. So cheating to get into college and lying about your accomplishments. Sounds interesting. Right, what's next? Next we have Influence by Sarah Shepard and Lilia Buckingham. So Sarah Shepard is the author who wrote Pretty Little Liars, and the Perfectionist series. And Lilia Buckingham is an influencer. So they wrote this one together. Influence. Probably realistic. Let's see. After a video she makes goes viral, everyone knows Delilah Rollins. The rush of getting likes is a drug she can't get enough of. And now that she's in LA, Delilah's standing on the edge of something incredible. Everything is going to change. She has no idea how much. Jasmine Walters Diaz grew up in the spotlight, a child star turned media darling with 20 million followers. The posts of her in her classic Lulu C rainbow skirt practically break the internet. But if the world knew who Jasmine really was, her perfect life, canceled. Fiona Jacobs is so funny, the kind of girl for whom a crowd parts. No wonder she's always smiling. But on the inside, the girl's a hot mess. She can't believe she aced an audition because she's terrible at life. And when someone comes out of the shadows with a secret from her past, it won't just embarrass Fiona, it will ruin her. Who wouldn't want to be Scarlett Lee? Just look at her Instagram. Video vixen, sponsorship queen. Scarlett isn't just styled to perfection, she is perfection. Scarlet has a gorgeous, famous boyfriend named Jack, and there's a whole fan base about their ship. To everyone watching online, their lives seem perfect, but are they really? Get ready for a twisty mystery that takes place in the fiercely competitive world of influencers. The sun is hot in California, and someone's going to get burned. So, sounds like it might be a little bit of a mystery, definitely realistic fiction, and all about social media. So, check out Influence by Sarah Shepard and Lilia Buckingham. Let's see what's next. Next, we have this little book called Tales of the Hinterland. And it's so soft. The cover is like really soft and smooth, by Melissa Albert. And this book is a companion book to the story The Hazel Wood, and the second book in that series, The Night Country. So if you haven't read The Hazel Wood is sort of a new fairy tale, kind of. But in The Hazelwood, the one of the characters, her grandmother, wrote a book called Tales from the Hinterland, which is a book of fairy tales, dark, twisted fairy tales. This is Tales of the Hinterland. So the author, Tales from the Hinterland, the author, Melissa Albert, has written the actual fairy tale book, or come out with the actual fairy tale book that they talk about in The Hazelwood. So if you've read The Hazelwood, you'll know exactly what Tales of the Hinterland is. If you haven't, you can read Tales of the Hinterland on its own. You don't have to read The Hazelwood, because this is a collection of fairy tales. So basically, there's no real description. So I'm just going to read you what it says on the back. Lush and deliciously sinister fairy tales to be consumed as greedily as Turkish delight or any fairy fruit. This inventive, enchanting collection reads like the fairy tales of old, hushed stories passed woman to woman before the Grimms came and wiped away all the blood. Journey into the hinterland, a brutal and beautiful world where a girl spends a night with death, brides are wed to a mysterious house in the trees, and an enchantress is killed twice and lives. So these are not your Disney fairy tales. These are not, princesses and happily ever after. These are darker, a little more creepy, sinister. So I'll read you some of the titles. The Door That Wasn't There, Hansa the Traveler, The Clockwork Bride, Jenny and the Night Women, The Skinned Maiden, Alice 3 Times, The House Under the Stairwell, Ilsa Waits, The Sea Cellar, The Mother and the Dagger, Twice Killed Catherine, and Death and the Woodwife. And it's got lots of really nice illustrations inside. It's really actually a very pretty book. So let's see if I can find another illustration. This is Jenny and the Night Women. So definitely creepy, definitely not Disney, but if you like creepy, dark fairy tales, from the hinterland is one you're going to want to pick up. And I also recommend The Hazelwood because it's really, really good. Okay, what's next? We've got Crown of Bones by A.K. Wilder. Really pretty cover on that one. Look at that. For fans of epic fantasies and sweeping adventures, this ensemble cast will immerse you in a world of unique magic, breathtaking action, and unforgettable characters. In a world on the brink of the next great dying, no amount of training can prepare us for what is to come. A young heir will raise the most powerful phantom in all of Basine. A dangerous high savant will do anything to control the 9 realms. A mysterious and deadly Mar race will steal children into the sea. And a handsome guide with far too many secrets will make me fall in love. My name is Ash, a lowly scribe meant to observe and record, and yet I think I'm destined to surprise us all. So this sounds interesting. This is definitely fantasy. On the back it says, an epic tale of intrigue, adventure, and romance. I adored Crown of Bones with all my phantom-loving heart. Fast-paced action, a close-knit band of friends, an imaginative, immersive journey, breathtaking adventure and compelling characters and a rich fantasy world. So if you're a fantasy fan, you're going to want to check out Crown of Bones by A.K. Wilder. What's next? Next we have Rent a Boyfriend by Gloria Chow. Looks like romance, realistic fiction. Let's see. Chloe Wang is nervous to introduce her parents to her boyfriend because the truth is she hasn't met him yet either. She hired him from Rent for Your Rents, a company specializing in providing fake boyfriends trained to impress even the most traditional Asian parents. Drew Chan's passion is art, but after his parents cut him off for dropping out of college to pursue his dreams, he became a Rent for Your Rents operative to keep a roof over his head. Luckily, learning protocols like Type C parents prefer quiet, kind, zero PDA gestures comes naturally to him. When Chloe rents Drew, the mission is simple. Convince her parents fake Drew is worthy of their approval, so they'll stop pressuring her to accept a proposal from Hong Bo, the wealthiest young bachelor in their tight-knit Asian American community. But when Chloe starts to fall for the real Drew, who, unlike his fake persona, is definitely not rent-worthy, her carefully curated life begins to unravel. Can she figure out what she wants before she loses everything? So, this is probably sort of a rom-com book. It's romance, probably realistic, fun, falling in love with the guy that you're trying to convince your parents is the perfect guy. And maybe he is, but probably not the perfect guy that they think he is. So, anyway, Rent a Boyfriend by Gloria Chow, if you're looking for realistic romance. Next, we have Five Nights at Freddy's, the next one in that series. Fazbear Frights, number 6, Blackbird. If you're a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, we have most of the other ones, so you might want to check out the next one. This says, haunted by the past. To avoid confronting an ugly truth, Noel falls prey to a monster that punishes past transgressions. Growing weaker by the day, 9-year-old Jake looks back on the time before he was sick, imagining life as if he were well again. And forever desperate to prove his worth to his arrogant brother and distant father, Toby chases victory at an arcade game with horrifying consequences. But in the unpredictable world of Five Nights at Freddy's, sometimes the past can take on a life of its own. So this is 3 short stories from the Five Nights at Freddy's world. Check that one out if you like that series. All right, next we have Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant. Again, looks like realistic fiction. Let's see. 16-year-old Tessa Johnson has never felt like the protagonist in her own life. She's rarely seen herself reflected in the pages of the romance novels she loves. The only place she's a true leading lady is in her own writing, in the swoony love stories she shares only with Caroline, her best friend. When Tessa is accepted into the writing program of a prestigious art school, she's excited to finally let her story shine. But when she goes to her first workshop, the words are gone. Fortunately, Caroline has a solution. Tessa just needs to find some inspiration and a real-life love story of her own. And she's ready with a list of romance novel-inspired steps to a happily ever after. Nico, the brooding artist who looks like he walked out of one of Tessa's stories, is cast as the perfect Prince Charming. But as Tessa checks off each item on her list, she gets further away from herself. She risks losing everything she cares about, including the surprising bond she develops with Sweet Sam, who lives across the street. She's on her way to having her own real-life love story, but is it the one she wants after all? So definitely a romance, definitely sweet, fun, probably an easy read. So Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant. Let's see. Next we have When You Look Like Us by Pamela N. Harris. So again, more realistic fiction. Got lots of realistic fiction in this box. When you look like us, brown skin, brown eyes, black braids or fades, everyone else thinks you're trouble. No one takes a second look at a missing black girl from public housing because she must have brought whatever happened to her upon herself. I, Jay Murphy, can admit that for a minute I thought my sister Nicole got too caught up with her drug dealer boyfriend and his friends. But she's been gone too long. Nick, where are you? If I hadn't hung up on her that night, she would be home spending time with our grandma. If I was a better brother, she'd be finishing senior year instead of being another name on a missing persons list. It's time to step up, to do what the Newport News Police Department won't, bring her home. So this sounds like a mystery, a thriller, also realistic, and probably perfect for this time. Great cover, too. I just love looking at the covers. I definitely judge books by their covers. All right, next, speaking of good covers, because I love this one too, is Glimpsed by G.F. Miller. It says, sometimes destiny needs a little nudge. Charity is a fairy godmother. She doesn't wear a poofy dress or go around waving a wand, but she does make sure the deepest desires of the student population at Jack London High School come true. And she knows what they want even better than they do because she can glimpse their perfect futures. But when Charity fulfills a glimpse that gets Vindhya crowned homecoming queen, it ends in disaster. Suddenly, every wish Charity has ever granted is called into question. Has she really been helping people? Where do these glimpses come from anyway? What if she's not getting the whole picture? Making this existential crisis way worse, there's Noah, the adorkable and, in Charity's opinion, diabolical ex of one of her past clients, who blames her for sabotaging his prom plans and claims her interventions are doing more harm than good. He demands that she stop granting wishes and help him get his girl back. At first, Charity has no choice but to play along, but soon Noah becomes an unexpected ally in getting to the bottom of the glimpses. Before long, Charity dares to call him her friend, and even starts to wish he were something more. But can the fairy godmother ever get the happily ever after? So this sounds like a fun fantasy romance. So on the back it says, you want to know why a few lucky people get a fairy godmother while everyone else is stuck slogging it out on their own? It's the glimpse. Sometimes, out of nowhere, I get a glimpse of someone's deepest wish. And not to brag, but I can make it come true 100% of the time. Then I fade into the background, because the fairy godmother doesn't do friendship. I grant the wish, and then I'm gone. So, read this, check it out, see if Charity gets her happily ever after. All right, looks like we have one more book left in the box, and this one is Black Canary, Breaking Silence by Alexandra Monier. And this is definitely a superhero book. So there are other books in this DC Icons series, showing you on the back. There is Wonder Woman Warbringer, Batman Nightwalker, Catwoman Soul Stealer, and Superman Dawnbreaker. We have all of these here, so if you want to read more about the DC Icons, you can check these out. But this is the latest one, Black Canary, Breaking Silence. You don't have to read them in any particular order. They're not a series in that respect, but they are all sort of connected in that they all come from the same DC comic world. Dinah Lance's voice is her weapon. Dinah was 8 years old when she overheard the impossible, the sound of a girl singing. It was something she was never meant to hear, not in her lifetime and not in Gotham City, taken over by the vicious, patriarchal Court of Owls. This sinister organization rules Gotham City as a dictatorship and has stripped women of everything: their right to work, to make music, to learn, to be free. With everyone around her silenced, she must fight to step up and stand out. Now 17, Dinah can't forget that haunting sound, and she's beginning to discover that her own voice is just as powerful. But singing is forbidden, a one-way route to a certain death sentence. Fighting to balance her father's desire to keep her safe, a blossoming romance with mysterious new student Oliver Queen, and her own need to help other women and girls rise up, Dinah wonders if her song will finally be heard, and will her voice be powerful enough to destroy the Court of Owls after all. In a near-future world where women have no rights, Black Canary won't hesitate to use everything she has, including her song, to fight back. So if you like superheroes, if you like the DC Comics world, check out Black Canary. Breaking Silence, and look into the other ones, Wonder Woman, Batman, Catwoman, and Superman. Great. So that is all I have in this box. I hope that you saw something you like. If you did, you can put a hold on it in the catalog. You can give me a call, send me an email, and I will pull a book for you if it's here in the collection. If there's anything else you're looking for, if you saw something like one of these books on the back, or you want to check something out by a different author, please let me know. Give me a call. I'm here. Hopefully we'll be opening our doors back up for you to come in and browse soon. But until then, you can still check books out. You can still request books, and I can help you find the perfect next book to read. So give me a call, send me an email, whatever. And I hope you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you again soon.